What if everything you've been told about getting rich is a lie? What if the real secret to millionaire success has nothing to do with luck, connections, or even hard work, but everything to do with something you already possess right now? Something so powerful that once you unlock it, your entire life trajectory changes forever. I'm talking about the hidden psychology that separates those who build wealth from those who spend their entire lives chasing it. And here's the thing. This isn't theory. This isn't fluff. This is the raw, unfiltered truth about how millionaires actually think. And by the time we're done here, you're going to see yourself, your potential, and your future in a completely different light. But you have to stay with me until the very end, because what I'm going to reveal in the final moments will tie everything together in a way that will leave you ready to move mountains. Let's start with something uncomfortable. Most people are living their entire lives on autopilot. They wake up, go to work, come home, watch TV, scroll through social media, and do it all over again. They're not bad people. They're not lazy. They're just stuck in a cycle they don't even realize they're in. And that cycle is designed to keep them exactly where they are. Because here's what nobody wants to admit. Your mind has been programmed. From the time you were a kid, you've been absorbing messages about money, success, and what's possible for someone like you. And most of those messages were lies. The hidden psychology of millionaires starts with one fundamental truth. They deprogram themselves. They looked at all the beliefs they inherited about money and success, and they made a conscious decision to reject the ones that didn't serve them. They stopped believing that money is evil. They stopped believing that rich people are greedy. They stopped believing that they had to work themselves to death just to survive. And most importantly, they stopped believing that their starting point determined their ending point. But here's where it gets real. If you're still watching this, it means something inside you is hungry for more. It means you're tired of settling, you're tired of playing small, you're tired of watching other people live the life you dream about. And if that's you, do me a favor right now, hit that like button. And if you're serious about breaking free from mediocrity, subscribe and turn on notifications, because what we're building here isn't just content. It's a movement. It's a community of people who refuse to accept less than they deserve. Don't just be a spectator, be a participant. Now let's talk about what's really happening in the minds of people who build wealth. Most people think in terms of problems. Millionaires think in terms of possibilities. When something goes wrong, most people ask, why is this happening to me? Millionaires ask, what can I learn from this? How can I use this? You see the difference? One question keeps you stuck in victim mode. The other puts you in control. And that shift, that tiny shift in how you frame situations, changes everything. Here's something that's going to sting a little bit. You're not broke because of the economy. You're not broke because of your job. You're not broke because you didn't get the right opportunities. You're broke because of how you think about money. And I know that's hard to hear, but it's also the most empowering thing you'll ever realize. Because if your thinking is the problem, then changing your thinking is the solution. And that's something you can start doing right now, this very second. Millionaires have a relationship with money that's completely different from everyone else. They don't see money as something to chase. They see it as something to attract. They don't see it as scarce. They see it as abundant. They don't see it as the enemy. They see it as a tool. And when you change your relationship with money, money changes its relationship with you. It's not magic. It's psychology. It's energy. It's the law of cause and effect playing out in real time. But let's go deeper. Are you ready? Because this is where most people check out, and that's exactly why most people stay stuck. If you're still here, drop a comment right now and tell me one thing you're going to do differently this week. Not someday, not next month, this week. I want to see your commitment. I want to see you choosing yourself. Here's what millionaires understand that broke people refuse to accept. You have to become the person who has the money before you get the money. You can't show up as a broke person with broke habits, broke thinking, and broke energy and expect to attract wealth. It doesn't work like that. Millionaires invest in themselves first. They invest in their mindset. They invest in their skills. They invest in their growth. They know that the greatest asset they have isn't their business or their investments, it's themselves. And they treat themselves like the million-dollar asset they are. Meanwhile, most people are out here waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for more money to start investing, waiting for someone to give them permission, waiting for life to get easier. And while they're waiting, life is passing them by, opportunities are passing them by, time is passing them by. And you can't get that back. You can't rewind the clock and make a different choice. All you have is right now. And the question is, what are you going to do with it? Let me tell you something about fear. Everyone has it. Millionaires aren't fearless. They're just not controlled by their fear. They feel the fear and they move anyway. They feel the doubt and they take action anyway. They feel the uncertainty and they bet on themselves anyway. Because they know that on the other side of fear is everything they've ever wanted. Every dream, every goal, every version of themselves they're meant to become. And they're not willing to let fear rob them of that. But most people let fear run their entire lives. They're afraid of failing, so they don't try. They're afraid of looking stupid, so they don't take risks. They're afraid of what people will think, so they play it safe. And playing it safe is the most dangerous thing you can do, because when you play it safe, you guarantee that nothing changes. You guarantee that 5 years from now, you'll be in the exact same place, having the exact same struggles, living the exact same life. Is that really what you want? If this message is hitting you hard, if it's making you uncomfortable, if it's making you question everything, good. That means it's working. That means you're waking up. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone who's stuck in their own way, someone who's one mindset shift away from everything changing, share this video with them. Don't gatekeep transformation. Be the person who plants the seed. Now let's talk about something that millionaires do that almost nobody talks about. They're obsessed with adding value. They're not asking, what can I get? They're asking, what can I give? How can I serve? How can I make people's lives better? And when you shift from a mindset of taking to a mindset of giving, everything changes. Because value attracts money, value attracts opportunities, value attracts the right people. And when you become someone who consistently adds value to the world rewards you for it. But here's the trap. Most people are so focused on getting paid that they forget to become valuable. They want the result without doing the work. They want the reward without earning it. They want the lifestyle without building the life. And that's backwards. Millionaires know that if you focus on becoming valuable, the money takes care of itself. If you focus on solving problems, serving people, and being excellent at what you do, success is inevitable. Let me ask you something. How many times have you sabotaged yourself? How many times have you been on the edge of something great and you pulled back? How many times have you talked yourself out of taking action because you didn't feel ready? That's not wisdom. That's fear dressed up as logic. And millionaires see through that. They know that you'll never feel ready. They know that there's never a perfect time. They know that confidence comes from action, not the other way around. And here's what's wild. The people who are winning aren't smarter than you. They're not more talented than you. They're not luckier than you. They just made a decision that you haven't made yet. They decided that their dreams mattered more than their excuses. They decided that their future mattered more than their comfort. They decided that they were worth betting on. And that decision changed everything. So when are you going to make that decision? When are you going to stop waiting for permission and start giving it to yourself? When are you going to stop playing small and start showing up like the person you're meant to be? Because the world doesn't need another person going through the motions. The world needs you fully alive, fully committed, fully on fire for the life you're building. If you're still here, I need you to do something for me. Comment below and tell me what limiting belief you're letting go of today. What story are you done telling yourself? What excuse are you burning? And then I want you to tell me who you're becoming. Not who you are right now, but who you're stepping into. Because once you declare it, once you put it out into the universe, it becomes real. Here's another thing that separates millionaires from everyone else. They think long-term while everyone else is thinking about right now. They're willing to delay gratification. They're willing to sacrifice today for a better tomorrow. They'll skip the expensive dinner, the flashy car, the designer clothes, because they're building something that lasts. They're planting seeds that they won't harvest for years. And they're okay with that because they trust the process. They trust that small, consistent actions compound into massive results. But most people, they want instant results. They want the shortcut. They want the hack. And when they don't see results immediately, they quit. They give up. They convince themselves it's not working. And that's the tragedy, because success isn't about one big moment. It's about 1,000 small moments. It's about showing up when you don't feel like it. It's about doing the work when nobody's watching. It's about believing in yourself when everyone else thinks you're crazy. Millionaires also understand something that most people miss. They understand that their environment shapes them, so they're ruthless about protecting their environment. They don't spend time with people who drain their energy. They don't consume content that makes them feel small. They don't tolerate negativity, gossip, or mediocrity. They curate their life like a garden, pulling out the weeds and nurturing what helps them grow. Because they know that you become who you surround yourself with. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but I don't know anyone like that. Then find them. Get online, read their books, listen to their podcasts, join their communities. Your network is your net worth, and if everyone in your circle is broke, unmotivated, and full of excuses, you already know where that leads. But if you start surrounding yourself with people who are hungry, driven, and building something real, your entire life shifts. Now here's where we need to get brutally honest. You've been given one life, one shot, one chance to build something meaningful, to become someone incredible, to leave a mark on this world. And every day you're not going all in is a day you're wasting. Every day you're holding back is a day you're betraying yourself. Every day you're choosing comfort over growth is a day you're settling for less than you deserve. And you can lie to other people, but you can't lie to yourself. Deep down, you know you're capable of more. Deep down, you know you're meant for more. So why are you still playing small? Here's the thing about millionaires that nobody wants to talk about. They fail. A lot. But they don't see failure as the end. They see it as data. They see it as feedback. They see it as proof that they had the guts to try. Meanwhile, most people are so terrified of failing that they never start. They protect their ego at the expense of their dreams. And that's the saddest thing in the world. Because failure doesn't destroy you. Regret does. Playing it safe does. Looking back on your life and realizing you never even tried, that's what destroys you. So let me ask you this. What are you protecting? Your pride? Your comfort? Your image? Is that really worth sacrificing your dreams for? Is that really worth living a mediocre life for? Because millionaires decided a long time ago that their vision was more important than their fear. Their future was more important than their ego. And they were willing to look stupid, fall flat on their face, and fail 100 times if it meant getting one step closer to where they wanted to be. And here's the truth that's going to set you free. You don't need more time. You don't need more money. You don't need more resources. You need more belief. You need more courage. You need more commitment. Everything you need to start is already inside you. You just have to decide that you're worth it. You have to decide that your dreams matter. You have to decide that you're not going to let another year pass without making real progress toward the life you want. Are you ready to hear something that might change everything? The hidden psychology of millionaires isn't complicated. It's not some secret code that only a select few have access to. It's simple. It's about thinking differently. It's about seeing opportunities where other people see obstacles. It's about taking ownership of your life instead of blaming circumstances. It's about betting on yourself when no one else will. It's about showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it, because you're committed to the process, not just the outcome. Millionaires have a vision so clear, so vivid, so real in their minds, that it pulls them forward even on the hardest days. They know exactly what they're building. They know exactly who they're becoming. And they don't let setbacks, distractions, or other people's opinions knock them off course. They're locked in. They're focused. They're all in. And that kind of clarity is magnetic. It attracts the right opportunities. It attracts the right people. It attracts abundance. But you can't have that clarity if you're scattered, if you're trying to do everything, if you're chasing every shiny object. Millionaires protect their focus like it's their most valuable asset, because it is. They say no to good things so they can say yes to great things. They eliminate distractions. They cut out the noise. They simplify their lives so they can amplify their impact. And in that simplicity, they find power. Now I want you to think about something. What would your life look like if you committed to one goal with everything you have for the next 12 months? Not 10 goals, Not 5 goals. 1 goal. What would happen if you poured all your energy, all your focus, all your resources into becoming the person who achieves that goal? What would change? Who would you become? That's what millionaires do. They're not distracted. They're not divided. They're not dabbling. They're committed. And commitment is what separates dreamers from doers. Here's something most people will never understand. Millionaires don't wait for motivation. They create discipline. They show up whether they feel like it or not. They do the work whether it's fun or not. They keep going whether they're seeing results or not. Because they know that motivation is temporary, but discipline is what builds empires. Discipline is what creates freedom. Discipline is what transforms dreams into reality. And I know discipline sounds hard. I know it sounds boring. But you know what's harder? Being broke, being stuck, being full of regret. That's harder. So you get to choose your hard. You can choose the hard of discipline, or you can choose the hard of regret. But either way, life is hard. So you might as well choose the hard that gives you the life you actually want. Let me tell you what's waiting for you on the other side of this decision. On the other side of you choosing yourself, on the other side of you stepping into your power, on the other side of you committing to your vision, there's a version of you that's free. There's a version of you that wakes up every day excited about what you're building. There's a version of you that's financially secure, emotionally fulfilled, and living in alignment with your purpose. That version of you exists. But you have to become that person. And it starts with the decision you make right now. Before we get to the final revelation I promised you, I need you to do something. If this video has moved you, if it's made you feel something, if it's lit a fire inside you that you can't ignore, share it. Share it with someone who needs this message. Share it with someone who's doubting themselves. Share it with someone who's one decision away from changing everything. Don't let this be the end. Let this be the beginning. And here's the final truth I promised you. The hidden psychology of millionaires can be summed up in one sentence, and this is what I want you to remember long after this video ends. Millionaires don't see themselves as ordinary people trying to do extraordinary things. They see themselves as extraordinary people doing what extraordinary people do. That's it. That's the shift. They change their identity before they change their circumstances. They became the person worthy of success before success showed up. So the question isn't whether you can do it. The question is, are you willing to become the person who does it? Are you willing to think differently? Are you willing to act differently? Are you willing to be different? Because you can't have $1 million life with a broke mindset. You can't have millionaire results with mediocre effort. You can't have an extraordinary future while living an ordinary present. Something has to change, and that something is you. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your chance to stop playing small and start playing to win, to stop settling and start building, to stop doubting and start believing. Everything you've ever wanted is waiting for you on the other side of the person you're afraid to become. So become that person, starting right now. Before you leave, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we're not done here. This is just the beginning. Like this video if it changed something in you. Comment below and tell me what action you're taking today. Not tomorrow, today. And share this with someone who needs to hear it. Your future is calling. Are you going to answer? I'll see you in the next one. Now go build the life you deserve.